But in the case of Jon Stewart, we are making an exception. I first met Jon, or Bulldog, as all of his good friends call him, in 1999 when I became a correspondent on The Daily Show. It was a dream job. I shared an office with my friend Stephen Colbert. I traveled the country doing field reports about interesting and eccentric people. I worked with an incredibly talented production team, and above all else, I had front row seats to witness the magic of Jon Stewart. It is impossible to exaggerate the amount of physical and mental effort that went into making The Daily Show. And Jon carried the bulk of that work on his sinewy, narrow shoulders. He was our leader, and we would do anything for him. One of my first assignments was an interview with a man who ran a venom research facility in Nebraska. When I got there, the research facility was actually a mobile home full of snakes. Some in cages, some free range. The scientist who ran the facility had been bitten by his snakes so many times that the hospital wouldn't send an ambulance all the way out to his home anymore. It was terrifying, as I have a phobia of things that can kill me. Fortunately, I managed to not get bitten or squeezed to death. Jon loved the interview. As he watched it, he jokingly said over and over that it would have been great if I'd actually been bitten by a snake. I remember him saying, quote, "That would have been great if you'd been bitten by one of those snakes." I would have loved that. That would have been so funny. Do you remember that, Jon?
I do remember.
Another time, Jon sent Stephen and I out to do a report about the effects of alcohol on motor skills. In a loosely controlled experiment, I drank 6 Long Island iced teas in the course of about 45 minutes, while Stephen tested my cognitive abilities. On the way home, I threw up out the window of Stephen's car. Unfortunately, the window was closed. Jon loved that I had pushed the envelope, that I had jeopardized my personal health and well-being for the sake of a 2-minute comedy sketch. He asked if there was any extended footage of the vomiting. There wasn't. He also reiterated that he'd like to see me bitten by a snake at some point. Jon was always supporting us, always cheering us on from the comfort and safety of his office. He once had me eat Crisco on camera. It could have been vanilla frosting because that looks exactly the same, and I told him so, but Jon is a perfectionist and would have none of it. Go big or go home, Jon used to say. He loved that phrase. He also liked, "I'm getting too old for this." And also, "Did I do that?" My years of working with Jon were wonderful, full of excitement, fear, physical distress, and laughter. And as much as it pains me to do this, I have to be earnest for a minute. Jon, you are a great writer and performer. You are articulate and thoughtful. You are funny and kind, and you care deeply. As most of you know, The Daily Show was shot in New York City, and naturally the show stopped filming after 9/11. Production was shut down, and the city struggled to recover. We didn't know when we would go back on the air because it was hard to imagine trying to be funny again. When Jon finally decided to resume the show, his first night back, he delivered a commentary. Speaking from the heart, he took on the immensely difficult job of finding some context, some hope in the wake of such a devastating tragedy.
Any fool can destroy. But to see these guys, these firefighters, these policemen, and people from all over the country, literally with buckets, rebuilding, that's extraordinary.
In that moment, He encapsulated, at least to me, why the show existed and what sets him apart. He strives to make sense out of the insane and to find joy within darkness. John, your intellect, sense of humor, and fearlessness are an inspiration to me.